Here are 10 tips you wish you knew about tarot. So, welcome to my channel. I'm Show Your Kitty Mystic. I make tarot and pick-a-card tarot readings here on YouTube. And today I wanted to share 10 tips for people who wanted to start reading cards for yourself, or if you've been reading cards for yourself for a while and you just want to improve your skills, because you can always improve your skills. So, let's get started. Okay, so my number one tip to give really intuitive, really deep tarot readings to yourself and other is to learn the cards and then forget the meanings. Okay, every card in this deck has meanings that are generally assigned to it, right? Temperance, this can be the middle way, balancing of all opposites, spiritual path, patience. So there's kind of like buzzwords that are connected to each of the cards. But what you really want to do is understand the card. You know, it can help to understand the astrology behind it, sign of Sagittarius, understand the basics of the card, and then forget. So that every time you do a tarot reading, it's a new experience experiencing this card, because you will be shocked at the things that you notice in different readings. You know, for example, in Temperance here, something that I'm just noticing now is that his feet are on the ground and in the water. Okay, so for a certain person, this might indicate that they need grounding and some time walking barefoot on the earth. This is a very specific reading that I could get by treating the card as a new experience and letting different things pull my eyes at different times. So you can get a lot more from the individual cards if you forget, let's do another one maybe, if you forget what it truly means. So say you're doing a love reading and you pull the Ten of Pentacles here. You know, this could indicate a bunch of different things. So this could indicate, it often is a sign of many opportunities and, you know, really positive things available to you in this moment, right? So you could say, oh, there's many people for you to love. Or maybe you might at a certain moment in time get pulled to the dog. And it may indicate a lover or a relationship with someone with a dog. Like, that could be a really big sign of who this person is. So by forgetting the meanings and treating the card as something new every time, you really get drawn into the picture more, and you'll start to get very specific, full-formed thoughts rather than just buzzwords, right? Because that can kind of happen at the beginning, is you just get really stuck in the buzzwords and you don't know how to make it like a full idea or a full prediction or sentence. Like Six of Wands, success, victory, right? And you can throw those out and you can get a really good reading. But when you look at them as new, like I said, you'll just get more depth. And especially when you put cards side by side together, right? Treat it as a full new experience and you'll see something different every single time. Second tip, I definitely recommend developing a personal relationship with your deck, and really any deck you have if you can. So by developing a personal relationship with it, I mean, you know, shuffle it a lot. Get to know the energy by looking through each of the cards. You can do this all at once or just idly throughout a period of time, but take some time to look at each of the card and go, how does this make me feel? What does this make me think of? What energy do I get from this card? You know, if you're clairvoyant, you might hear something when you see this card. Okay, clairaudient, that's clairvoyant, is seeing things. Clairaudient, you might hear something. Clairvoyant, you might be drawn to the images, right? You may get a feeling from this. You may get an intuitive knowing of what this energy is. And if you can take a little bit of time to get to know the cards and develop a personal connection to the deck, then it'll be very easy for you to use your intuition, because ultimately the cards are going to speak your language, and each card may have a slightly different interpretation per reader and per time that they're reading, right? Every time you pull this card is not exactly the same because of the context of the reading, the situation the person in front of you is in, or yourself if you're just reading for yourself. So when you have a personal understanding of those cards, it makes it really easy to just draw up what they mean quickly. Okay, so tip number 3, understand the elements of nature. Each of these cards have a certain element to them. I'm going to pull one of each to show you. The Magician, and we just need one Earth. Ooh, Pentacles, there we go. So each card is tied to an element, right? Pentacles is Earth. Swords is air. Cups is water. Wands is fire. And some cards, this is debatable, but I always add the space element because it is the missing element in spirituality, and it is a very effective one to use because it contains infinite potential. So I consider the major arcana to be the space element. However, a lot of them are tied to the other elements. Like in the Magician, he has all 4 of the elements present. He has the wand, the pentacles, the cup, and the sword. So he is a master of all the elements, whereas the Empress is very earthy, and it's more on the earthy realm. However, like I said, I do tie space into some of the major arcana because I think it's helpful to understand. So to understand the elements, what you simply want to do is build a relationship, similar to building a relationship to your cards, build a relationship to each of the elements. So spend some time, if you want to understand the wands, spend some time with fire. You can light a candle and simply stare into it and really seek to intuitively understand the essence of fire. You know, you can burn things, you can put it out, you can see how it moves, how it behaves. For earth, spend some time with the earth, feeling the soil, and connecting to each of these elements, understanding each of these elements helps you to get a really intuitive understanding of the suits of tarot. So, you know, spending time by rivers for water and cups, the sea, lakes, even in a bath, swimming, feeling water, how it moves, and comparing it to, you know, the density of earth, of pentacles, or, you know, the pain that is associated with fire. You know, when you touch fire, I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but when you touch fire, obviously it's going to be hot and it's going to burn you. But when you touch water, it soothes you, right? So that gives you some intuitive information that you can add to your tarot so that you get really powerful downloads when you're reading your cards. It's super beneficial for air. Spend some time looking at the clouds. Spend some time watching weather, right? Weather is a really good way to see air. Air is really tied to speed. All of the air cards, the sword cards in tarot can signify something happening very quickly or fast. And if you watch wind and you watch clouds move through the sky, you can definitely see why that is. So it's very interesting to add the elements into your reading. I highly recommend doing that. And then the next tip is numerology. Understanding the basic meanings of the numbers 1 to 9 will greatly increase your ability to read what is happening in a tarot spread or in a tarot card. So, for example, here, oh my god, we have 3 8s. I didn't even notice that before. 888, maybe confirmation or synchronicity for you. I don't know. That's a lucky number. That's a gift of abundance or money or just things, blessings. 8 is the number of blessings. Okay. I'm excited. We all got blessed today. So, I'm going to show you what they mean. So, by understanding 8, right, when I see 888, right away I can see that this situation here, if I were to have pulled this in a reading, sorry, it was like that, is a blessing. So maybe this person is walking away from something that is keeping them stuck, and that is going to bring in some sort of blessing or power. 8 also ties into power and authority and balance and business and all kinds of things. So by learning those things, you can understand what realm your reading is operating on. With 3, you have the number of creativity, right? And then with the wands here, this card is very much about exploration, freedom, understanding new horizons. This can also be a sign that you're on the right path, that is a path that is created by you. And so by understanding that 3 is creativity, you can see that there's an element of freshness, of newness, and inspiration in this card before you even look at it, because it's the 3 of Wands, right? And you tie in your understanding of fire, right? You can get a very intuitive reading from these decks. And all these things, like, it takes a little bit of practice with tarot. You might be confused at first. Personally, I find sometimes I have blind spots when I'm reading for myself, whereas when I'm reading for other people, it's much easier because I don't have any like attachment to how I want things to be. So yeah, practice with yourself, practice with others. Okay, so understand elements, numerology. Tip number 5, calm your energy prior to a reading. This can be as simple as taking some deep breaths or stretching or potentially, cleansing the energy of your space with sage, Palo Santo, lighting an incense, lighting a candle. Do something to calm down, to slow down, or to clear. This way you'll be able to read without nervous energy. I find nervous energy will tend to bring about the cards that we fear. Anytime I've read for someone and they're like, I'm really scared of this card, like I hope I don't get this card, they usually get it. I have a couple friends. My one friend thinks the 7 of Swords, let's see in this deck, I really want to show you. He thinks the 7 of Swords haunts him. And any other, and almost any reading, he does get the 7 of Swords. And in this deck, it's quite an unfortunate position to be in. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he is walking in the unknown, getting stabbed from all angles. And so, that's sketchy, right? And he feels like this card follows him or is attached to him. He doesn't want to see it. And I almost feel like that draws the card out. There's another one, the 9 of Swords indicates worries, right? Fears and anxieties. I have a friend for the longest time was always pulling that in her dating and relationships, and she was so scared it was going to come out, and then it would come out. They do mirror your energy. When you're in a calm state, it's much easier to reflect an accurate representation of the situation versus reflect your fears and what you're focused on. And you can even see, like, I'm just kind of moving my hands around as I speak, but you can see, like, the idea when I go like this, right? The faster you are and the more, like, stressed that you are when you're reading your cards, the more they're going to kind of give you confusing energy. So make sure that you are calm, at least a little bit. Even a couple deep breaths can really help. Or your space is clear, because that will calm you down as well. And the next step is, I always think that you should spend at least a moment in your mind or out loud prior to the reading asking God, Spirit, your angels, your guides of the highest good, some force that you see benevolence in, goodness in, a force that you trust to come in and aid you in the reading. So like asking for the answers directly from God or directly from Spirit ensures that you're going to get the answers that serve your highest good, more so than the answers that might reflect your ego, calm your ego, or potentially come from negative forces. Like I said, fear and anxiety can produce different outcomes in your tarot readings. If you're reading from a scared space, or if you go on when you're scared and you watch someone's pick a card, you will be drawn to different things, and sometimes it can amplify your fear. By asking God directly and asking your guides directly, you'll be sure that it's coming from a benevolent force, and in that way, you know you're getting like really truthful, good readings, right? Pick something that you believe in to be good. It doesn't have to be what other people would pick, right? That's why, some people really believe in angels and a personal angel, especially if you're from Catholicism. Maybe it's a personal God that you have, or, just the universe, or your ancestors, your guides. By doing that, you're connecting to good energy to start your reading, and you will likely have a very good result. You will have a result that aids in your highest good and doesn't so much confuse you. Or lucky number 7, pay attention to how you're feeling when you do a reading. So I think I'm just going to throw some cards out right now as an example. But whenever you pull a multiple card spread, or even just one card, you really want to pay attention to how your body feels. Okay? Is there any... Ooh, Ace of Cups, Knight of Swords in reverse. See, I'm already excited. Right? Like, that's a really good sign. Right away, you can see in my energy excitement. So, when you can feel how you're feeling and what's going on with you in relation to a reading, you can get a really good idea of what this reading is about. So some readings might give you a sense of foreboding. That's usually a warning, a caution, a sign. If the reading starts to make you feel nervous or closed off or scared, you can tell that it is indicating, a potential threat. However, if the reading, like I just had, offers excitement, we have the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Swords in reverse, the Six of Cups, and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. I can read these cards in a positive way with a lot of trust in that, because I can feel in my body the sensations that it's causing, if that makes sense. So you might feel things like a tingling in your throat, right? This could indicate that there's something that's hard to communicate, or that the realm of communication is being talked about in your tarot reading. Maybe you feel something in your eyes or a specific part of your body, right? This can indicate something very important. Sometimes things like twitching, itching, and tingling can be confirmation from your intuitive body that you are correct, right? So if you feel a specific tingling when you say something, or you think a thought that you've interpreted from the cards, that tingling can be your intuition being like, yep, you're right, right? Itching in the nose. Often I find itching in the ear if someone is thinking about someone else, or someone is thinking about me. Always itching in the ear, like I can hear them or something. So pay attention to your physical body and what signs it indicates to you when you're using your intuition and when you're using tarot. And this can help you, with tarot readings, but it can also help you just get really good with your intuition in general, because you'll start to be very tapped into what's going on. Tapped in to intuition is being tapped into your body, right? Intuition comes from our feelings. It comes from physical sensations. It's the pit in your stomach when you've gone the wrong way, or it's that feeling of lightness and butterflies when you know that you're doing something right for you. So pay attention to how those feelings are triggered by this. You might feel temperature changes depending on the situation. You might feel scared, or you might feel tired, or something like that, and that can indicate what is going on in the reading, what is going on with the person that you're reading for, or just in general what the cards are trying to say. So I find that very, very useful. The more that you can feel your body and react to the cards with your whole body, the more you can experience what they're trying to say. For number 8, be willing to be wrong. Okay, so when you read tarot, like, sometimes it can be like right away, like a feeling of, oh, I'm not sure what this means, or I don't know, or I should know. And you know, you need to just be okay that sometimes you might not get it right, or sometimes you might not exactly know what it means, but you can always clarify. So you can clarify using a different deck of cards. You can clarify using the same deck of cards, using oracle cards. If you need more information, if you're like, I really do not get what this is trying to say, that's okay. You're way more likely to know and to really get the message if you're okay with being wrong and asking more, if you're willing to understand that not everything will make sense immediately, but sometimes just throwing an extra card on top, or, you know, spending a minute really trying to tap in, spending some time, you know, I always go back to looking into the imagery a bit more, looking for what symbolism is grabbing your eyes at certain times. By doing that, you will know, right? So just let yourself be wrong, let yourself be a little bit confused at sometimes. Take a breath if you need to. I find when you're reading for others, they really don't care if you're not exactly sure what something means and you ask more questions. They love it, right? We do, because we want to trust that you know what you're doing, and oftentimes it signifies that you know what you're doing more when you're willing to be like, okay, like, I need to find out more, than when you're like, nope, I know everything. You know, I doubt you guys are doing that if you're reading it, watching a tip video, but you know what I'm saying. So tip number 9, practice by reading about things that you do not care about. Like things that you do not give a shit about at all. Like, am I gonna get a coffee today? If you're practicing your ability to understand yes and no. Like, will someone buy me a coffee today? Or, you know, simple things that are not going to have an emotional attachment to you. The main things that people want to know about are success, money, relationships, sometimes health, and things like that. So oftentimes those things we have personal attachment to, right? We have a lot of feelings over whether or not we'll find love, right? So when you're reading those things at first, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to understand the message because your thoughts get in the way and your hopes and your fears get in the way and you can't see it clearly. When you read about things that you don't have a personal attachment to or care about, you can really practice your skills and, again, your understanding of your cards, your understanding of your element. And then when you do those deeper readings, when you do read about things that you care about, it's much easier because you already have an understanding. So I highly recommend, if you want to get really good at tarot, if you want to be bomb, just spend a little bit of time practicing with things that don't matter, you know, hanging out with a friend and just kind of playing with it a little bit. And you'll see yourself get really good, actually really fast. And my last tip, my 10th tip, is to be open with your energy and your posture. So a lot of open energy, a lot of receptive energy is really just about being open in your physical body. When you are closed off, you know, when you're hunched, when you're small, you're not taking as much in, right? You're not taking as much energy in from your space. Approach tarot reading as open as you can. You know, you don't necessarily have to have perfect posture, but trying to sit in a good posture, trying to sit as if you're open to understanding the cards will allow you to really read their energy really well. It's a little bit of a silly thing, but it does help you be more open to the messages that are around you and be more open to interpreting the cards. So that is my last tip. Try it. You will feel a difference, I swear. And I hope you enjoyed these tips. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments if you like videos like this, where you are on your learning tarot journey, if you've been learning tarot. And yeah, I'll see you around.